Privacy. Okay, yeah, yeah. Morally, sure. Legally, no, he's not, because of the First Amendment, and also because of the fact that once you walk outside, you have no legal um, expectation of privacy, and that is actually kind of a gray area. Because did you know that if you're in your house and you have your window open, I could take a picture of you in your house. You Once you do that, you have no legal expectation of privacy. However,
Wow.
did you know you can? Yeah, people don't know that, but once you open your window like that, technically it's the same as being outside. Also, did you know that if you are in your car, technically you are inside. What's the word? It's your castle. Well, that's the legal term. You're inside. Like one of the things that some people do is they like to drive around naked in their car. Theoretically, they're allowed to do that because the inside of that car is technically their domicile, their place. So if you want to drive around in your car with no pants on, you can go ahead and do that. Now it's going to be difficult to explain that when the cops stop you because you didn't come to a complete stop at the stop sign, and they want you to come outside so that they can frisk you or whatever, and you have no pants on. So you know, but there's a lot of legal legally dubious things that you can do that may or may not be the best idea. And in this instance, maybe Josh didn't make the best decision.
If he was driving around with his pants off, taking pictures of little kids, we might have a problem.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's true. I guess I guess that technically a combination of legal activities can can ultimately make it illegal. I guess. Oh, okay. So there was this guy. I can't remember his first name. Well, because he deleted the comments and stuff. But um, this is one of the things that really bothers me about about modern society, I guess. So we're talking about this guy Josh and this video, which I couldn't find. Finally, somebody found it and posted it. But what this guy said was, he said Josh was acting creepy at the fairgrounds, and I go, okay, how do you know this? Were you there? No, he wasn't there. He saw this video. Now, mind you, I'm not a forensic expert, so I'm assuming that this video that we're watching is actually Josh Rosenthal. I don't know. I assume it is. And I have no reason to believe that it's not. Mm. So me and this guy are talking about this. He says, yeah. He says if you put you, meaning you in general, but when I responded, I acted as if he was saying you directed towards me. He wasn't, but that's how I responded to it. He says, if you put that camera in my kid's face and if you put that camera and flash in my kid's face and took that picture, you and I would be having a talk right then and there. And I thought to myself, okay, well, that's a veiled threat. And I go, okay, well, here's the thing. If I did that and you reacted that way, I would just call the police and have you arrested. And he says, oh, you don't need to escalate this conversation. I'm like, oh, no. We're not gonna do that, dude. I'm a whole hell of a lot smarter than you, so don't be trying to pull that shit on me. That's that kind of thing where you're some girl's ex-boyfriend and her new boyfriend says, well, you know what, maybe we should settle this like men. Settle this like men. Okay, what you're doing is you're threatening me with physical violence, so you're breaking the law. So but you don't have enough guts to say it, so you issue a veiled threat, and you think that I'm scared, and I'm not. So when this guy said that, now mind you, he wasn't threatening me, okay? I don't want anybody to misconstrue that. He was not threatening me, but what he was saying is that if Josh had taken this picture of his kid, he would have threatened Josh. I said, speaking third person, I told him, well, if you were to have done that, I would have called the police and had you arrested. He said, for what? No need to escalate this conversation. I said, okay, but here's the thing. That's criminal threat. That's a crime. I said, you are not allowed to have a conversation, in the quotation marks. You are not allowed to have a conversation with somebody unless they agree to have a conversation with you. Needless to say, he deleted the conversation. He deleted the thread after that. So one of the things that's really bothering me is that people are threatening each other with death and bodily injury, and they think that because they're behind a computer screen that they're not breaking the law, but they actually are. In fact, if they're doing that from another state, that's a federal offense because they're crossing state lines. It's like money laundering, or when you take a minor across state lines for sex, instead of being a state crime, which is like statutory rape or whatever it happened to have been, now it becomes a federal offense because you crossed the state lines. So these people are doing these things, saying these things, threatening other human beings, and they think that it's no big deal, or that they're not doing anything, but they're actually breaking the law, and in some cases, they're breaking federal law.
Okay. No, you're absolutely right. That's the problem with the internet. First of all, everyone thinks they're a tough guy.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
We've talked about that in the past. I had that guy who just, instead of making a valid argument for his point, decided he was going to cast aspersions and say a lot of really bad things about me. And I finally sent him back his address after doing a quick Google search. And I said, I'll be over at your house in 5 minutes so you can say that shit to me face to face. And I'm going to speak to you toe to toe. I'm just of the fact that if you can talk to someone like that across a computer screen, you should probably be willing to do it to them to their face. Another point I want to bring up, that's getting way off the point, but we have a problem with rabbit holes on this podcast.
Yeah,
Ooh,
well,
look at that rabbit hole. Let's go down there.
I think that's the charm of the show. Oh, speaking of which, I forgot to tell you, we don't have a whole hell of a lot of listens to this podcast yet, at least, but the page had last week we got 3,800 visitations to the page that I made for that. So, and I put that teaser up. So I'd like to see. I don't know what's going to happen with this episode, but with all those, there was a lot of people there that checked out that page. So, and I said, check out the show, and then after I'm done posting it, I'm gonna post up my link there, and check out the show, and we'll see. Two things about Josh. I issued him an invitation to come on the show. He did not respond, so I don't know why that was. Maybe he was afraid. Maybe he, because people were bugging him and threatening him, and maybe he just didn't want to fan the flames, or maybe because it was fairly new, so maybe his story was already co-opted and he couldn't say anything. I don't know. So the other thing is that one of the he had in the story, it alluded to the fact that he issued some partial apology for what had happened. It wasn't that he wasn't really apologizing for doing it, but he was apologizing that the ladies got freaked out or something. Well, that I can't get behind that. I very rarely apologize. And the reason why that is because, well, at least in this instance, the reason why I don't appreciate that he issued any apology at all was because he did not do anything wrong. And once you start doing that, then your rights become they're at the whim of whoever gets pissed off. So not too long ago, Kathy Griffith got in a lot of trouble for that picture of the president's head, and she was scared though, because she was getting death threats from people, and the Secret Service was investigating her. She was on the no-fly list. I mean, it's a little bit different than if you just were to have done that with Joe Schmo down the road, or some movie star, or something like, Harvey Weinstein or something like that. It's the president of the United States. Regardless of how you feel about him, he's the president of the frickin' United States. But there were a lot of comedians that said, they said, I understand the situation, and I understand it's very serious, but the thing is you don't apologize for comedy ever. Once you start doing that, your art becomes compromised, because the comedy that you do is dictated by your audience, and you can't allow that to happen.
I agree with you, but if you look at almost every late night comedian, all this stuff, all the jokes are one-sided, and they're all pretty much the same, and they're getting lamer and lamer. They only talk about one side of the situation, because obviously showing that they stand on one side of it. And comedy, like all art, should never take a side in anything.
All art should examine society as a whole. Once you start being on one side, you alienate the other side, because what you're insinuating is that if you don't hold that opinion, that you're wrong, and that right. and you don't have the authority to do that. Like, okay, well, what we're speaking of is late night comedy and Saturday Night Live, and the fact that a majority of their material is Donald Trump, just nasty jokes and skits that really, like, for instance, that one girl that did that Sean Spicer imitation. I can't even remember who the hell she was. Her Sean Spicer was just this rabid, crazy little midget with no hair, and just riding around in a motorized podium attacking people. But the thing is, that was not even true. And if you ever watched a Sean Spicer interview, most of the time he was I never saw him lose his temper. I heard that he did once, but that was it. They don't ever look anywhere else. It's always Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, or an employee or a cabinet member of Donald Trump, and that's it. And the thing
just says they're pro-Trump.
Yeah, or pro-Trump. And so what they're doing is they're alienating an entire. Here's the thing: the president is the president because he got elected. So you either voted for him or you didn't vote for him. Either way, you got him elected. Because if all you did was show up to the polls and not vote for him, well, shit, any 18-year-old could do that. So if you're mad because Donald Trump is the president, now here's the thing. The full disclaimer is I am no politician's fan. Nobody. I don't care which side you are on. You got Donald Trump, that's seriously questionable. You got Bernie Sanders, that's a blatant socialist. You got Kamala Harris, which is who's crazy as shit and an admitted pot smoker, and you have Omar and Tlaib, who are blatant anti-Semites, and nobody calls them out on it except for the Jewish government, who told them, "Hey, guess what? You don't get to come to Israel because you're a freaking anti-Semite." And nobody's like, everybody's, all these. Here's the thing: if I was working Saturday Night Live, I wouldn't be spending my time, on one guy over here who's in the White House. I'd be over here with 500 people that can't do a goddamn thing, that can't that can't pass a law, that's full of anti-Semites, full of pot smokers. I mean, come on, man. You got a guy over here who apparently has no filter, and then you got a bunch of people over here who are smoking dope, advocating socialism, and and are admitted anti-Semites. So I mean, what is Saturday Night Live going to do when the